literally walk out Suvarnabhumi Airport to get your taxi. And that's the first time you get the Thailand smell as well. And it's like, yeah, this is it. Here I am.
Thank you so much for inviting me and give me the whole hour the first time now.
He's like, I want to be the only guest this time if I come on. What you don't know about Maggie, she's very bossy. She's not on the camera. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Saturday Live Show. Exciting day today. We have a special guest joining us, and Simon from the Land of Smiles Thailand. So excited to have him on and talk to him today. I've been a fan of his for a long time. So let me just welcome some people in here. And for those that are new to the show today, my channel is focused on tips and tools for your next Thailand trip. And I just wanted to kind of call out all of those that might have viewed my recent part 10 video. For those of you that don't know, I actually have edited videos as well. So part 10 was Pattaya Passage, and the video is performing quite well. So thank you for everyone that liked and commented on that video. Really appreciate that. So usually what I would do on a live show like this is I would chat up for a little bit for about 15 minutes, but I'm so excited to have Simon on this week that I almost want to just bring him right into the live stream. So let me just say hello to a couple of people that are coming into the live show. Let me set up my banners here to thank my moderators, because I feel like I have the best moderators on all of YouTube. So thank you for all of you moderators keeping the chat consistent and up to snuff with the YouTube's terms and conditions. Let's see, you got Mango Sticky Rice in here saying horrible weather here in San Francisco. It is horrible weather in San Francisco, but we need the rain. So that's a good thing. Robert Mack in Asia. Good morning, Richard. Thank you. Peter Hopkins, nice to see you again. Thank you. So I feel like Simon is one of the best Thai vloggers in my opinion as well. So I agree with you. So that's great. So guys, I'm going to come back to the chat a little bit later. What I want to do is I want to actually bring in our first guest, our only guest of today, Simon from the Land of Smiles Thailand. Let me bring up some things and get things ready for him. And I will bring Simon into the Saturday Live Show.
Oh, good. So testing. Good evening,
Are you
mate.
okay? Yeah,
I can hear you loud and clear. I don't like the headphones.
Yeah, you know, it's a love or hate relationship with me. I usually go between the headphones and my AirPods or just nothing. So
Yeah.
Hey, so I'm a huge fan, Simon. It's an honor to have you on the show today. Thank you for making time.
Absolutely no. Well, it's a pleasure to be on here, but it's a bit late. It's like 11 o'clock at night here on a Saturday night.
Yeah, and so for those of you that don't know, it definitely took some convincing to get Simon on today. So you know, the time change in America didn't really help things out, Simon. It used to be a 10 o'clock live show for you, but now it's 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
but thank you for coming on.
But no problem. Me and Reeshard, when did we meet? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, in 2018 we met at one of your subscriber parties.
2 years, yeah, something like 2 years ago. Yeah, I think I was. Where was it? Soy New Plaza. I think it was the Mac bar in Pat's. We met, and you had another vlogger with you as well.
Yeah, and it's so funny, Simon, because I feel like you have a memory like an elephant. You don't forget anything. And you and I have had this conversation around, like, so when we met 2 years ago, you could tell me what shirt I was wearing, what pants I was wearing, the watch I had on. I know that you made a comment about the Breitling watch I had on. I'm like, man, this guy's got a great memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But were you friends with the other vlogger you came with, or did you just meet that other vlogger? Can you remember who it was?
Yeah, so I was partners with Jeremy for a while.
That was it.
Yep.
Jeremy. Yeah, that was a good night. It was a good night.
Yeah, it was definitely a good night.
That was, Mem loved that night because we were pretty new, a year into our channel. And as we left there and walked up that lane, there was a guy in the distance. He looked about 150 years old, about 2 foot tall and wrinkly. And it was dark in the distance, and he came running towards us, arms in the air, screaming Mem's name, ran up to her and threw his arms around her and said, "Mem, I love you," from the channel. That was the first time Mem had been recognized, and it made our night that night. It was amazing.
Yeah, and that's interesting. So, because I know that when you initially started out the channel, Mem was not really co-starring on the channel so much. That's kind of a recent thing, just a year or two, right?
It was probably the first year she wasn't on. She was shy. But I was as well at first when I started. I didn't really know what I was doing. But yeah, she came on and then she took over the channel. So I'm just a B-roll now.
That's funny. I got to tell you, so my favorite videos of yours, Simon, are pretty much like the first couple that you did from your house back in the UK. Yeah, you would tell the bar stories of your time as a bar manager. And I got to tell you, so that helped me through difficult times in between my Thailand trips back then. So I used to get really depressed, like in between Thailand trips. And I just would love listening to your stories. It would make me laugh. And I just thought, these are great stories.
They were just, I didn't think much to them. And quite a few of them I've deleted, if I'm honest. But my number 7, I think it was Thai Girls and Prices. That's done about 900,000 views now, that one. And I look at it and I think, why? It's awful. So I don't like watching my own videos. They make me cringe.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you mean there. It's funny because I actually tested one of your stories back in the day. So this is a story you told maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It was on the difference between girls yelling to you, darling or darkling. And you had said, guys, listen very closely when you're walking down the soys, because every now and again you'll hear darkling. And that actually translates loosely to horse's ass.
Monkey's ass.
Monkey's ass. Even better.
Yeah, they do. They're darkling, but they're very subtle the way they say it. You handsome man, darkling, and I thought the scoring system video I did was probably one of my favorite.
That's a good one too.
Have the scoring system on you, and that still applies. When I was in Pats a couple of weeks ago, I was asking some girls in the bars, are they still doing that? And they admitted, yes, they're still roughly between themselves giving marks out of 10 for the potential clients.
Yeah, so I want to talk about that, but I want to pause that and go back to that darkling story, because I tested it out, Simon. When I first heard you say that, I thought, I don't know if this is true, Yeah. So my next trip, I was walking down one of the famous soys in Pattaya, and I heard darkling a couple times. I turned around, but to your point on your video, you said, don't pick a fight. Just know that what they're saying is what they're saying. Because I got to tell you, some of those Thai girls can fight, man. You don't want to get in a disagreement with them.
Yeah, Thai girl, very good fighters. And also, if you come across a bar that's got a couple of ladyboys in as well, you don't want to mess with them. Absolutely. Soy 8 in Pattaya was the bottom 50 yards of that soy. The neon lights in the bars, and they were up a couple of steps each side. Hopefully your subscribers will remember it. And occasionally a foreigner would walk up and he'd taunt them. And then next thing you know, there's bottles flying and girls coming out bashing them.
Yeah, I do feel like Thai girls have a love with beer bottles and throwing them. So,
only empty ones.
Yeah, that's so true.
Throw one full.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it is funny. I see that a lot. I've seen that in soy made in Thailand, the bottles throwing. Usually it's because the jealousy between the girls or something.
Yeah. And when it's quiet, maybe they were fighting for the guys. But often it is the guys. It's guys teasing them, standing there and joking and pretending to walk in and then walk out, go to another bar. They don't like that. They don't like that.
That's what I think I liked so much about your bar stories, because they would tell you, like, they would tell a funny story, but also give some great advice like that. Like, listen, guys, don't go in and make fun of the girls. Like,
Yeah.
it's disrespectful. And honestly, like, that's their job. You don't want people coming into your job making fun of you.
I mean, the politically correct, some people can say there, it's sex work as a job. And it is. But they're human beings at the end of the day, whatever job they're doing. And if you give them respect, you'll have so much better time with them. If you disrespect them, it's your lookout, isn't it, really? And it's true.
Yeah, it's interesting because the video that you were going to talk about a little bit, the scoring system. So that was a whole interesting video. I think you did maybe 2 videos on that one. That was interesting because you kind of pulled back the curtain on what goes on around the management of the bars and the go-go's around 2 mama sans. You got one that's in charge of the books and the numbers, and one that's in charge of the girls. And I felt like you gave some great advice around go in there and buy a drink for the mama san and chat her up a little bit. And then we talked about, right?
Good. That's still good advice today. If you go into any bar or go, you'll spot the mama san pretty quick. And if you look after her, she can solve anything for you. So.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned like the mama sans have a little scoring system as well too. They'll take a look at, are your hands clipped? Do you have clipped fingernails? What kind of shirt are you wearing? That whole thing, right?
Yeah, and the sandals was the biggest one. The guy with the sandals, open foot sandals, with or without socks. You used to see it all the time. And in the last few weeks when I've been away, I saw guys wearing sandals and socks. And tailored clothes, and they just stand out a mile, absolute mile, and the girls spot it. So,
yeah, I'm curious because Simon, you've been doing a lot of traveling recently, all around. Bangkok, Pattaya, down in Phuket as well, Patong. I'm curious, like, so what are you seeing out there? I know that Pattaya, there's a little bit of comeback, but what are you seeing? Is it a little depressing in the bar scene? What's your take on all of this?
So Pattaya was wonderful, and it wasn't depressing at all. The girls, a lot more bars are open now. There's a lot of girls there. They were smiling. I said I think on other shows, they were showing hope on their faces. Things are happening. So Pattaya is definitely bouncing back. Phuket, I was in Patong, and it was horrible to see. It was pretty much closed down. Bangkok, on the other hand, in the entertainment zones, and I was only really around Sukhumvit Road, Nana, Cowboy, that a lot of the bars were closed, but the ones that were open were great fun. But a lot of action in Bangkok happens at weekend when people finish work, a lot of the expats and stuff. So Pattaya really is ready for you guys. It's ready. The buses are starting to get full from Isan.
Yeah, I mean, is your take, Simon, that it'll be a V-shaped recovery once the borders open up and we can come in without a quarantine? You think everyone's going to be coming back?
I'm not sure. It's hard. It's such an awful event this last year. It's tricky to know what's going to happen because people have lost their jobs back home. They've got no money. Lost loved ones. There's a lot of people can't afford to come back. Maybe they want to, but can't afford to. So I think there'll be an initial surge when the quarantine stops. But how big a surge and how long, I really couldn't call it. I'm really not sure. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think it's a great point because I have a lot of friends that are in the UK and they're really struggling because their primary job is no longer available because of the situation. So they're having to take on crappy jobs just to pay the bills, but not necessarily save up money for another Thailand trip. So I think it's a little concerning. Like a lot of these guys that used to come back are probably in debt and they can't really afford to come back. But I think the most of us will probably come back. I don't know. It's a tough call. I can't call it. But Peter Hopkins kind of has a great question for you. He loves you. So he's, you're one of his favorite Thai vloggers. And he wants to know, like, what sets you apart from the other Thai vloggers out there, Simon? The secret to your success, 63,000 subscribers.
I think no BS. Talking true, putting our lives on YouTube and letting people come into our house and follow us through the ups and downs. And when it's bad, we tell people. When it's good, we tell people. But I think the biggest success is always trying. The channel is not really me and Mem, it's the community, it's the subscribers. And if you realize that without them, you're nothing, trying to build that community and get the community talking to each other and making new friends and then helping each other. I think that's been the biggest success, having that community. That's why we do the stream every week, so we can talk to them.
Yeah, and I feel like, so that's a great point, the honesty part, because I do appreciate that in your videos. You're the first one to say, like, I made a mistake here, probably shouldn't have done that. But you let us know what that is so that we can learn from your mistakes as well. You know, if we come up there and do a house, you know, we know what to look out for. Yeah,
but that's why I started the YouTube channel, really, is to sort of pay forward the knowledge I'd got from being a bar manager, from going on holiday to Thailand, marrying a Thai woman, and also being married 16 years to a Thai woman. There's quite a lot of people that have got the same and more, but probably haven't got YouTube channels. So people, I think, look at the success we've had of 16 years and watch to see, you know, how did it work and why. That's a big thing, I think. I mean, now's a good example. My Thai wife is in England working to put money back in our savings to keep our resort open. So, you know, 1 in a million, but there's millions more of them out there, good ones. So I think maybe something to do with that marriage, you know, our marriage. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. So, because you live between Hua Hin and Bangkok in Phetchaburi, did I say that right?
Yeah, north of Phetchaburi, right halfway between Hua Hin and Bangkok. It's about an hour and a half from each one.
I'm curious why you chose that city. What stood out for you there?
My wife's younger sister married into this village, and we came to visit just before we got married, and there was a lovely piece of land there, and I looked at the map, and I like water, so I didn't want to live north of Bangkok. I wanted to live near water. I didn't want to live in Pattaya because I'd been there, you know, and getting married, I didn't feel right. So I just looked at the map and I thought, right, Kanchanabra is 70 minutes away, Hua Hin 90, Bangkok 90, 30 minutes to the beach. I thought, it's great. We got the right piece of land at the right price when the exchange rates were way up. So that was the start of it, really. That's why we picked here.
Yeah, you purchased that piece of land a long time ago, right? Was that like 15 years ago you purchased that?
2004. So yeah 16 years ago.
Wow.
And it was 79 baht to the pound. So it's double the exchange rate today. So it's basically half price. Yeah, it was good.
And then did you build the house were you living in the UK and then building the house kind of remotely?
So we spent a month here after we bought the land, building the land up. And then we went back to the UK for probably 6 months and then kept coming back for a month. We actually built the snooker building at the front first and put a room in there. But when we came and stayed, I was staying next door in a tin shed in a Thai house, which was wood upstairs, concrete pillars downstairs, corrugated iron walls and a roof. And they put us in there with a mud floor, with a flappy window. And I couldn't stick it. So I rang Home Pro and got them to come and install an aircon on the side of a tin shed, which they couldn't do, so put a frame, and I put aircon in a mud and tin shed. And then eventually when we moved into the snooker room, we took the aircon out and stuffed them. But no, we built bit by bit. And then we built the house a couple of years later, bit by bit, coming over. One of us would come over and just kept watching it, one of us to build it. So yeah, took a few years, but it was the best way of doing it with our funds at the time.
Yeah, I know that you kind of profiled this a little bit when you first moved over there, that you really had a difficult time with the heat. Even though you vacationed there, would stay in Thailand for a month or two, you sort of had a tough time acclimating.
I did it. The first 6 months, I was struggling. It was summer because we came over in March. But then I got food poisoning, and immediately at the same time, I got water poisoning, and it nearly wiped me out. It nearly took me off the planet. First year was so tough. But we're a couple of degrees hotter here than in places next to the water. And it really took the good year Now, I still don't like the summer. It's too hot. It's 44, 45 degrees. It's still very hot. It's hard.
Yeah,
So
that
I'm
is
hairy.
hot.
You know, the wife calls me a monkey, so I'm hairy.
So you feel like that keeps you even hotter than the rest of us?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Definitely. So I should shave all my body, but I'm not going to.
Now, when you were in Pattaya, did you have a chance to get by Tree Town? Bay State Fox is
Yes.
kind of mentioning it's looking pretty
Oh,
lively.
yeah. I went to Tree Town, and the front wasn't open, the front middle bit, but all the sides and the back bar and the road going down to Made in Thailand were all open. A lot of freelancers in that area. That seemed to be the biggest freelancer area. It's great. Yeah, great night I had with a couple of other characters wandering around there.
Yeah, it's funny because I have this funny statement that I feel like I lose my life once every trip at Pattaya. I almost lose my life. And one of my funny stories around Tree Town is I was walking there during the daytime and I was going to get some carrot juice from one of the street vendors, but I thought against it. As I got halfway across the intersection, I thought I should probably go back for that. I turned to go back around. There's a motorbike coming and I heard nothing but the ABS locking up on the motorbike. It came within inches of just plowing into me. It would have ended my life. If that bike did not have ABS, I would have been dead.
Don't walk on the roads.
Yeah, it's you got to look both ways, right? So it's so funny.
A couple of weeks ago, I mean, Soy Bacau in Pattaya was hardly any cars on it at all. And you could cross the road with no problem. And second road, you could cross the road, and beach road. So that was great. But in high season with everyone here, you're always running the gauntlet crossing those roads.
Yeah, it's tough. It's like a little art form being able to cross the road in Pattaya, like Beach Road and Second Road. You get used to it after a while, but if you haven't been to Pattaya in a while, you'll be waiting there for 5 minutes to cross because you're looking for that real big gap, but you just need a small gap.
You try that in Bangkok at somewhere like a Sok or Sukhumvit Road, and you're running the gauntlet then with 3-4 lanes each side. That's fun. Yeah. That's
now
where you live.
What was your take in Bangkok? How were things in Bangkok? Was it lively there?
So I haven't stayed in Sukhumvit area and Nana and Cowboy for years. And because I was on my own, the idea was to get around and have a look around and see what it's like, do some filming. I ended up just live streaming a lot. It was great. I loved it. There's some bars have gone, some areas have gone, sadly, but there were some new bar complexes popping up. Yeah, Nana, I've gone off go-go's as I'm happily married and getting on in life. Me and the boys went in a couple of go-go's in Nana and a couple in Cowboy, and 20 odd girls on each go-go on the poles. They all had one thing in common. They were topless, and every one of them had been to see a surgeon, and it just didn't feel real. It was weird.
Yeah, my preference is really around the beer bar, Simon. I like the open air beer bars. I like to play the games in the bars. I like to talk to the mama-san. Generally speaking, it's my take, my feeling that those girls speak better English because they're having to communicate more. I don't know if you think that's true or not.
There was a big difference between Pattaya and Bangkok with the massage shops, which are everywhere. That was the biggest difference I noticed, is what they said to you when you went past massage parlors. In Pattaya, there would be massage sir, and then the other ones kept calling me Papa. And that just winds you up. But you're getting older. You don't want people, you're getting old, mate. You don't want to know. But in Bangkok, they were so crude. They gave me a name beginning with B and the second word J. They just kept saying those two words. So I think that's what they were calling me. And then the other one was two words beginning with F and then M, the second word.
That's great.
They were just saying it. I'm like, what?
Nice family-friendly area there you're in, Simon. Take the kids, everyone.
All the massage parlors, they were just saying those two phrases.
Yeah.
Directly.
Awesome. Yeah, well, family fun for everyone. Bring the family. So Simon was saying he loved your videos on the swimming pool, which I thought was awesome because I could not believe, Simon, they got that pool to fit in between the two awnings. Were you stressing out about that when they were bringing the pool in?
No, really. I mean, I designed the two bungalows are 6 by 6 meter squares, both of them, and I left 6 meters in the middle between them. And the pool is 3 meters across by 6 meters long. But when I put the gutters on the roofs, it got a bit close when they dropped the pool in. It was only like an inch each side, and it was a bit, but I knew they could have brought it out and slid it under the gutter. So I sort of knew it would fit, and it was great to fit.
I was kind of wondering if they were going to bring it in like on an angle or something, because I felt like, oh, that's pretty close, Simon.
Yeah, it was close. It was literally an inch each side, but they were professionals. 6.5 days, start to finish, all installed and done. It was brilliant. It was the best part of the build because someone else was doing it. It looked good on camera. It really did look tight.
Yeah, it's a nice. I like the waterfall you put too as well. That's nice because it kind of hides the pool equipment behind there. Just smart. Yeah. You thought that out. It's a good job.
Yeah. It was just. I wanted to create a community area between all the rooms and the pool and the it's not a bar and restaurant, and that's what we achieved from the people that have been here and have partied here. So it came out all right in the end.
It's interesting because I feel like you've been making the rounds with all the Thai vloggers. I know you were on 20 Seconds with Rob, right? Rob, you were on NDTVI. That was a crazy live stream, huh, Simon? Is that sensory overload? Lights everywhere, people talking everywhere.
I don't know. I don't know if I upset them or not because someone gave me a shot with whiskey in it. I've got a skin disease and I take a pill every day, which is strong. So the doctors are saying 1 bottle of beer a day and no whiskey, get off the drink. And after I'd had a couple of beers, they started throwing shots and stuff at me. I'm like, oh no, this is going to get messy. But whiskey, I hate. And I think I drank that whiskey and it went to my head and I would just, it was funny. I wasn't impressed with the whiskey. But I'm not intentionally going around the vloggers. It's because they've been here or we've met in the past and they've said, please come and see us, or can you, are you going to drop in? So it was just time I had that I could travel around the country through this. So I did go and see quite a few and it was enjoyable. You've spoke to most of them.
Yeah, for sure. They've been on the show and whatnot. And it's great. I love seeing you there with like at the different bars and stuff. I guess I'm kind of curious, Simon, because one of the things you said in your bar manager series was, listen, so this is the benefits of being a bar manager, but to be honest, it's mostly negatives. Like your life gets out of balance. You're drinking a lot. I'm just curious to is life different for a bar owner versus a bar manager? Is there more balance for a bar owner?
Well, a bar owner, and I know a few, stand back from the bar and they put a manager in. Once you've got the bar making money, even if it's just a couple of baht, they stand back and they can control, everything from outside, then the manager and the girls. So as an owner, I would imagine it's easier if your bar's doing okay and you've got the right manager. But as a manager, you're just a customer service representative. You're just there front of house to talk to people and help them enjoy their holiday. So it's quite different, I would suggest. I've never owned a bar, so never been in a top position, but as a manager, it was just you were a salesman.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think you might have deleted this video series because I was trying to find it. It's your story around the billionaire American that came out to Thailand to start a family. Do you remember that one that you did? That was a great series. Oh man, that was a good series. I had me on the edge of my seat every time you would end one part. I'd be like, "Oh, Simon, come on! I want to hear the next one."
I don't do the cliffhangers on purpose. I really don't. I just sit in front of the camera and I can see the timer, so I try and do 15-minute slots. And as I get to sort of minute 13, I think, where shall I leave it? And then maybe I tease a little bit. So it just feels natural to do that,
Yeah. Is that one still up on your channel, or did you take that one down?
They're all still there.
I was trying to find that last night. Darn it, I could not find. I wanted to listen to that again. It's like good movies you can watch over again. I wanted to see that whole video series again.
I'll check the playlist. But it should all be there. It's on the channel there somewhere. YouTube keep changing things and they mess it all up. But it is there, those ones. I've just recorded today the final episode of my current love story. So, yes.
Yeah, I know sometimes you'll say like, this is the final one, because sometimes they can be pretty long, you know, past 10 parts and stuff like that. Do you kind of say to yourself, like, I got to wrap it up here soon, I'm getting too in the weeds?
Well, no, it's more about where I've got in the story. If it starts getting a little bit sketchy at the end, where they haven't done a lot in a period of time, I'll tend to end it like I am now with this one. I'm still in touch with the guy, the main character, and he's going to meet me in a few months. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave a bit. I'm going to come back to it in a few months, and I'll do maybe 2 or 3 episodes as a catch up.
That would be cool. So you think you might have him come on and talk about the story?
I believe so.
Wow, you've never done that before. That would be great.
No, I did it with one recently where I brought the guy on.
Oh, okay.
I did, yeah, one. But this one, he's more of a different type of character. I won't spoil it, but yeah, hopefully I'm going to get him on in a couple of months' time. So
that's awesome. Paul Rogers is asking, did you get a chance to meet up with Chris, retired working for you, on your trip to BKK? He's a character.
I messaged him and he said he'd meet me, but then another person grabbed me for a meeting, so I couldn't get to Chris. But he was here. He stayed here and he did a wonderful video on the resort. He's such a great guy. He spends 2 days editing every video. He's an amazing editor. His channel is just flying, and I wish him all the success in the world. Such a lovely guy, and his partner, fantastic couple.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So I love that video. It was like jaw-dropping for me to see that video where he profiled your resort, had the interview. I thought you had a funny shirt on for that interview. Did you plan that shirt that you're wearing?
Accidentally, on purpose.
That's funny. But I would say, like, anyone that's listening that has not seen that video, go to Retired Working for You. Look at I forget what that's titled, Simon, but it's easy to find, because I know that I think it has a picture of you on the thumbnail. But just wonderful picture. I love the drone footage of him cruising away from your resort on the motorbike. But just awesome, man. And yeah, like you said, you can't meet a nicer guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely love it. He cheated on that drone footage because I had the controller when he rode up the drive, and I was hiding it as I walked away.
Oh, interesting. So is that your drone that you use?
No,
and you send
that was his. We've got the same drone, but yeah. Oh no, he hasn't. He's got the newer one than me. That's right. Yeah, it was slightly different. But he's just he's just got the eye for the way he does his footage, and I haven't got any editing skills at all, as you can tell from my type of channel.
Yeah, but you got great content and you have great videos. You know, one thing I wanted to be mindful of today, Simon, was, you know, I told you 30 minutes. I want to promise you, we come up on 30 minutes. How's your energy? Do you want to take a couple more questions from the chat?
Absolutely. I'm quite happy to answer any questions. It's bedtime, whatever time I finish.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let me just go back up here and get a couple of the comments here.
A lot of YouTubers in here tonight as well.
Yeah. Okay, we don't want to talk about that one. Unfortunately, we got to be careful what we talk about, guys. With the current situation, you actually schooled me up on how we have to mention that. By the way, you refer to it as a worldwide illness. I used that phrase on my part 10 video. I stole it from you, Simon. I'll come clean. I stole it from you.
You can have any of my phrases at all. No problem at all. But yeah, YouTube algorithms, if you say the certain words, it will demonetize it, and they could even strike you. They're really funny about it at the moment. It's not that we don't want to say it. It's best not to, otherwise it causes problems.
Yeah, so thank you, Maximilian. Glad to see 2 of my 3 favorite vloggers. Well, I wonder who the third one is. That's awesome. But yeah, I do find it's interesting. So I think YouTube might be cracking down a little bit on content. I know that there were 1 or 2 YouTube creators that had videos get a strike from a year ago. So I don't know if they're using a different algorithm going back, but boy, that would be rough, huh?
I think they're constantly updating it all the time, and it's picking out certain things from from a year ago or 2 years ago, or however old the channel is. And they'll always do that, and they knock off, lots of things. But
yes,
you just have to keep reading the terms and conditions.
Yeah. So I kind of switching gears, going back to Pattaya a bit. I wonder, like the beaches are great. The water is crystal clear these days. Yeah, I saw a video of Koh Larn the other day where that water was blue again. It's never looked that way before. But I guess my question to you are, what do you think will be the effect of when the tourists come back? Do you think it'll go back to the water the way it was with the pollutants, or do you think they're updating that kind of stuff now? I know that the beer garden, the beer bar complex in the front of the beer garden, they're updating the plumbing. Do you think that'll change things?
Well, they've moved the drains, they've made them bigger, but they're still putting waste into the water. So I think it'll go dirty as soon as people come back, exactly as it was. Yeah, Pattaya's always had a problem with water supply and drainage, and to throw it into the Gulf it just seems a bit mad, instead of filtering it off to some plant. So I think it'll be exactly like it was. Maybe the beach might stay bigger, and it's beautiful at the moment. But Jomtyen's always cleaner water. So, but I think, yeah, it'll go back. And the streets were clean, but for some reason people come on holiday and litter and throw stuff around.
Yeah, I've seen it happen on Second Road before, Simon, right in front of my face, people just throwing stuff down. And I've actually said something a couple times because I don't like that. You know, I feel like Pattaya is my second home, so I don't like to see people just throwing stuff down. I feel like it's disrespectful. So it's a shame to see that, you know. It's
awful. Well, yeah, it's so simple to take your rubbish with you. But anyway, that's another niggle. I don't like seeing it at all. It's such shame. So
Peter Hopkins was asking, how is Mem settling back into the UK after being away for so long?
Yeah, she's doing brilliant. She's actually working. I can say certain things about the job, but there's a lot of stuff she's signed a, disclosure and all that. But she's actually working within 3 companies who are making the test kits for the worldwide illness, and they've put her now on 4-day shifts, 4 shifts a week, and then she gets 4 days off. So she's loving that, and she's having a blast. It's yeah.
That's a great job. And talk about giving something back. My gosh, like that's so critical that we have those test kits. So that makes me pretty proud that she's doing that type of work.
She's doing a great job. Thing is, whatever job you give a Thai, not just my wife, but most Thai women, and there's good money at the end of it, they will work 120% all day long, all night long, not a moan about anything, and get the job done. Thai people, they're so resilient. And Thai women and Thai guys, I suppose, I'm not sure. But yeah, she's an amazing worker and loves it there. She loves the cold weather, which is weird.
Yeah, do you find, because that's not normal. Like a lot of, well, I shouldn't say not normal. I don't hear a lot of Thai people saying they want to go to the cold. I've talked to Maggie a couple times. She's like, I like where I am. I don't want to go somewhere cold. But I can see why you'd want the change,
Mem's watching this show. Man, do you hear what he just said?
Yeah, I want to make friends. I love her, so I don't want her to be angry at me.
She lived in the UK 14 years with me, and she's been in snow and all sorts. She just puts loads of layers on and just gets on with it. But she does like the Farang food now, more so than Thai food, which is surprising. Yeah.
How did that happen? Who's to blame for that one?
She fell in love with roast meals. She fell in love with Chinese takeaways, all the bad stuff, fish and chips. And her favorite is a company called Nando's, which do piri piri chicken. She adores it. Yeah,
wow.
And chocolate.
Yeah, and that's interesting for me. I've found that when I'm in Thailand, it's tough to find like a good steak. Like beef is not very popular in Thailand. It's more chicken, seafood. Do you find that to be the same for you? Like you don't see a lot of like steak places up in Thailand?
There's a lot of good steaks here in Thailand in the supermarkets, and especially ones around Pattaya and Bangkok that import it. But if you go and get it yourself and cook it yourself, there's some great steaks here. Restaurants, it's hit and miss, like you say. But yeah, you can get pretty much everything now in Thailand from any country if you search around, and you just got to cook it yourself or get a chef in.
Yeah, interesting. Because I know, do you have like a barbecue outside of your place?
I'm English. We don't do barbecues really. It's not. We only get in England. The summer lasts about 6 weeks, and our barbecues go rusty with all the rain and snow.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that. That's like an American thing, huh?
It's an American thing.
That's crazy American.
I see Teacher Thomas is in the building, and he's a great barbecue person. In fact, most Americans, they love barbecuing competitions and things. So, yeah. But no, I don't have a barbecue out there as such.
And I got to tell you, I can't watch any more of Teacher Thomas's videos. I'm putting on 10 pounds just watching his videos cooking food. It makes me so hungry.
He left. He came here and gave me a big, huge rack of ribs, and they were delicious. So, very, very nice. Yeah.
I had someone there that was asking, Paul was asking how the Christmas bookings are looking at the resort. Are you starting to get some people kind of, no, not so much?
0 bookings at the moment. We've had let's just say rooms that don't last more than a few hours. People have come and used. If you can work out what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is a bit weird. And Thai people have been popping in, so we just see. I'm not too fussed at the moment about Christmas.
Yeah, because you're looking at it more long term. You're thinking next year, if you get back, maybe the second half of next year, you'll be happy. Is that how you're thinking? Or are you thinking earlier?
Nah, I'm actually thinking longer because, as you mentioned earlier about the V situation where everyone suddenly comes back and then maybe not, and then more come back. Trying to figure out a business, and you can't really work it out. So I'm trying to look at a 2-3 year plan now to see how we can get around that.
Yeah. So it kind of sounds like Mem might be back in the UK for a little longer term then, right?
It's hard to say yet. Originally we set a date of March the 1st when we make our decision what we were going to do. I think it's more likely going to be decision time at the end of January, and we'll figure it out from there, because by then we should know how everything's going in the world and what's happening. So we're trying to do it month by month at the moment, but it's hard to say. Her job, she's already got her old 2 jobs elsewhere in the country waiting for her if she wants to stay or if she needs to stay longer. So we're already, plan B and plan C is there, if needed. You've got to do what you have to do to survive in life. So we're figuring it out.
Yeah. Teacher Thomas has a great comment. So Lost Homestay Resort is a great place to stay and enjoy the nature of Thailand. And for those of you that don't know, that's the name of Simon's resort. So Lost Homestay Resort. I love that name. Did you struggle with that to come up with that name for the resort? So
it was because of the council, really, because they don't like a British name. An English name. So the resort is actually called Ban Si Khao, which is the White House. And then we put Lost for Land of Smiles Thailand, homestay to get the lower tax, and then resort. So it was all about tax and the sign tax as well as the main tax. So it was strategic for the business of our local council.
Interesting. Now your Thai is pretty good these days, right, Simon? You've been there a couple years now. Do you find yourself speaking pretty good Thai these days?
I can understand about 70% of Thai, maybe more, but I don't speak as much. I have a trouble with the tones.
Me too.
And I'm doing a bit of a course trying to learn to read and write. And it depends on who you're about with Thai, because in the village they use slang. So I can speak a bit of slang Thai. And then in Bangkok, you speak the proper Bangkok Thai. And your speed and your tone changes. So yeah, it's getting better, but it's still, I find it so hard. I think the hardest thing is when you want to say a sentence to someone, you naturally think it in English, translate it in your head, and by the time you've done that, they've walked away. So it's trying to think of it straight away in Thai and speak the Thai. That's coming more naturally now to me. Yeah. Yeah,
and it's interesting what you said. So you're looking to try to learn how to read and write Thai. I have heard from others that are proficient in Thai that that's a game changer. Once you learn how to read and write, that will help your speaking. So I'd be curious to know how that works out for you.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm slightly dyslexic with reading and writing. So I'm losing my temper trying to do these squiggly, stupid signs, which are supposed to be letters. And I'm losing my rag with them very quickly.
Yeah.
It's hard, very hard.
Yeah, that's my least favorite thing when I meet a new Thai friend and they tell me what their Facebook is and it's a Thai character for their name. Oh, Simon, it'll take me like 10 minutes to find that character in the Thai alphabet.
Yeah.
It's tough, but I guess you'll get used to it after studying it, but it's not easy.
It takes years. It takes, you've got to really force yourself, maybe 30 minutes every single day learning, and then you'll get there eventually. But you just got to be, it's annoying, frustrating. Yeah.
So what's next for you, Simon? You gonna do some more traveling? You gonna stay home for a little while?
I've got to go to Hua Hin in the next week or so for a couple of nights. I owe Ian Royal, who's one of the subscribers that comes here quite a bit. I owe him a meal, so I've got to go down and buy him a meal. And I've got a couple of companies there that want me to do some filming of their place. So apart from that, there's nothing else. After Christmas, I've got nothing. For the whole of January, I'm here.
That's great. Well, that's how you like it, right? You like to kind of relax, de-stress.
Yeah, I've got there's quite a few little repairs and things to do and stuff to sort out. So January is my month off. Well, not a month off, but I'll be here for the month. No traveling.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, we're kind of coming to the end of our time here, Simon, but I do want to let people know that Simon is such a gentleman because, Simon, you wouldn't sell me out like this, but I've been trying to come get Simon on the show for 4 months and a lot of different emails. I think you told me no 3 or 4 times, but always in such a nice way. So I just want to thank you for being a gentleman and finally coming on the show. I appreciate that.
It was just bad timing. Plus, I don't like your time zone. Yeah. I don't like this time of night, but I would have always come on at some point, but it's just been bad timing with everything. And I'm so glad you had me on, and thank you very much. And,
I appreciate that. You're a gentleman. I appreciate you coming on and spending over 30 minutes with me. I usually try to cap it at 30 minutes, so thank you for staying on extra. And I wish you the best of success. And Simon, I can't wait to meet you in person when I get back to Thailand. I'll be definitely speed dialing you and getting out to your resort. So I'll stay there for a week for sure.
Okay, well, that's good. You're booked.
I'm booked. Book me in the bigger room.
No problem.
Awesome. Great. Thank you, Simon. Have a good rest of your night.
And thank you to everyone for all the great questions and stuff. Have a great weekend. I'm actually streaming tomorrow night as usual. So maybe I'll bring you on one of my, it's the time zone for you, isn't it?
Hey, I would love it. I'll come on 24/7. Just send me a message.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll bring you on in a few weeks and come on to our stream.
I love it.
Thank you, Reeshard.
Thank you, Simon. All right. Talk to you later. What a great guest. That's awesome, guys. Such a gentleman. You know, he's very nice because I got to tell you, I was blowing him up for months. And he was telling me, no, not a good time, not a good time. And just in a very nice way. So I really appreciate him taking the time to come on tonight. You know, it's almost midnight there now. So he had told me previously, like, listen, he's a morning guy, so he gets to bed pretty early. But I stayed after him. I'm so pleased I had him on the show. Let's see. Skynet's always saying that Stay Home might have been buffering a little bit. Don't know if he's saying that Simon was buffering. He sounded pretty good on my side. Be interested to know if everything was good. Bad Badger retired in Thailand, who has a great channel as well, is saying great live stream, Richard and Simon. I appreciate that. I will say, if you guys can hang on there for a little bit, I got a great outro for all of us that are missing Pattaya. I put some video clips together with some cool music to sort of profile Pattaya back in the heyday, which is, you know, a couple months ago, not very long ago. So I want to show that to you guys on the way out, but I wanted to address a couple of the questions and welcome people into the chat. Let me go all the way back over to the top here because we had a couple people come in that I did not recognize. We got the A team of moderators. Thank you. Guys, let me know how the chat was today. Appreciate that. CJ Paradise was in our live stream a couple weeks ago. Loved his interview, guys. If you should know more about CJ Paradise, he lives in Hua Hin and he does daily videos all around Hua Hin. Great videos, great channel. Go check him out. I will let you know a couple of things here. Let me bring up a couple of my banners here. So I might have mentioned this earlier in the interview with Simon, but I don't know if you guys checked out NDTVI's recent Boots on the Ground video. he had some great drone footage of Koh Larn, which is not one of my favorite islands to go to because it's usually overcrowded and the water's not that clean. The water was looking great. The blue water is back, and I thought that was pretty cool. So hopefully it stays there for a little while. But one thing I wanted to mention about next week's show is we have Greeny Travels that's going to join us again. So he's been on previously when he was in quarantine in Bangkok. Now he's busted out of quarantine. He's been out for a couple weeks, and he's actually on a condo search. He's looking at a couple different areas. So he's going to talk to us about his choice. I think his video is going to come out at some point this next week where he announces his decision. And just for everyone that's listening in, I know what it is, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm sworn to secrecy. So the question for you guys in the chat is, do you think it'll be Bangkok, Jomtien, Hua Hin, or Pattaya? He's going to come on the show and talk about that. And for those of you that might not know, so Greeny Travels, he has his own YouTube channel. That's what it's called, Greeny Travels. His latest video on 3 condos in Jomtien was pretty good. I enjoyed the video, but I also enjoyed the condos. So I would say if you're interested in like just looking at condos and stuff like that for yourself in the Jomtien area, for those of you that don't know, Jomtien is like 5 minutes from Pattaya. The beaches are known to be a little bit better. So I love it there. It's got a great vibe to it, this kind of thing. So stay tuned for next week. We'll be having Greeny Travels on to talk about his condo choice. Let me go back up here to the comments. And we had Daystay Fox come in today. Appreciate having him in there. And then Robert Mack saying hello to everyone. It's always nice to have Robert Mack in here. He's got a great YouTube channel as well. Robert Mack talking to CJ Paradise about the Colorado River. Skynet saying awesome channel. All right, cool. CJ Paradise saying good job, Reeshard. Teacher Thomas, always appreciate the interviews. Great channel. Thank you, Teacher Thomas. Appreciate that. Looking forward to having some American breakfast when I get over to your bar, when I get back over there. Let's see who else we got there. Oh, Skynet subscribed. That's awesome. I don't know. I'm assuming he subscribed to me because Simon has like 64,000 subscribers. So I'm assuming everyone that might be on this live show is probably already subscribed to Simon's channel. And then CJ Paradise saying, it is not Hua Hin, ha ha. So I think he's probably busted me out of my pronunciation of Hua Hin. So it's Hua Hin, maybe not Hua Hin. I don't know. I think we talked about this during his interview. We thought didn't really matter so much. Definitely a lot of different ways to pronounce it. And then Paul Rogers saying Jomtien for sure. And so I had a condo there for about a year. I was at Vutele 5C, so it's at the back of Vutele 5. Nice private beach, which I loved, and just had a cool vibe. I like Jomtien, a little bit low stress, great restaurants. You'll find most of the great Italian restaurants are in Jomtien. So I really love Italian food, and the best restaurants are there in Jomtien. And then they also have some great Farang food places like Fraser's, which is what I love there, and very inexpensive. So I found most of the time when I would be eating in Pattaya, the cost for Western food was a little bit higher than Thai food. So I found like at Jomtien, you didn't see that so much. So I definitely appreciated kind of being around Jomtien a little more. Robert Mack is saying he did his first live stream the other day in Venice, California. That's great. That's awesome, man. It's always nice to do a live stream. There's a whole different type of skill set required for doing live streams versus recorded videos. So it can be a bit tough. Go back up here. I might have missed some comments. I want to make sure I'm calling everyone out. Teacher Thomas was talking about the Krabi trip that everyone went on. That was kind of fun to watch too. Welsh John saying, Bad Badger, I enjoyed Chuck's and all the videos you down there in the South. And that was, I think the funniest thing about that video series is all the vloggers were kind of tripping over themselves to try to get a camera shot without another camera in the shot. So I think they were really struggling to kind of get around each other's cameras. But I thought that was a great video series as well. So we're looking, I think we've had a couple of those people actually on the Saturday live show. So we're looking to get some more on there as well. And I guess the good news that's been coming through all the live shows, guys, is we're growing the channel, and the live show is taken off. I'm actually booked up for the next 4 weeks. So gone are the days where I have to kind of struggle and kind of hustle to get a guest on each week. We're booked out for the next 4 weeks. So that's great. We have guests coming on back to back, which will be great. And I'm trying to give everyone their full allotment of time versus what I was doing initially. First couple of live shows, I had 2 or 3 guests on at a time. That's a little more stress. I prefer having just one person on and then chatting with everyone here. So that works out better for me. So definitely looking forward to having more people on, and we have some interesting guests coming up. So I don't want to kind of give it away, but we have some really interesting guests coming on. in the next couple of weeks. So it'll be very exciting for most of you guys kind of tune in here and check those out. And then one thing I wanted to also address is just in the last couple minutes that we have here is around looking at 2021. Will this be the start of the V-shaped recovery in Pattaya? I think it will be. I definitely feel like once they either decrease the length of the quarantine time from 15 days down to 10 or even 7 days, I think you'll have more people coming back. But I think the huge influx of tourists coming in will be once they drop the quarantine entirely. I'm not sure if that's going to happen once all of us get vaccinated, if we can go back with no quarantine, or if they want to wait until their population gets vaccinated. So it'll be curious to see how that works out. But I definitely think that there's a lot of people that are ready to go back to Thailand. So I think it'll be a V-shaped recovery. It's just a matter of when. I was kind of calling it the last couple of weeks that I feel like June's kind of a safe time to target, because I feel like April, May is when the hotels are looking to kind of see their resurgence. Most of the hotels are setting their budgets for next year, and they're kind of calling April and May as kind of the return of tourists. So I feel like June's an extra buffer month. I think things will come back. A lot of people are saying that things will come back by Songkran, which is usually, I think it's the first or second week in April. So if that happens, that would be great. I think we'll kind of have to wait and see in January how all that works out. I'm going to kind of wrap things up here a little bit, guys. I want to thank Simon for coming on the Saturday Live show. Really appreciate him making the time. Thank you to all of my previous guests as well for taking the time. Like I mentioned earlier, I wanted to profile Pattaya a little bit because I know a lot of us are missing Pattaya. So I wanted to kind of send you guys out with a cool little outro video. And I will see everyone next week on the Saturday Live show. And again, we'll be having Greenie Travels coming back, talking about his condo decision. So until next time, have a great week.